everybody. Welcome to another edition of NCW, also known as New Comic Wednesday. If you haven't been with us before, we chat for a few minutes every Wednesday about Cinescope's newest releases. If you don't know who I am your NCW host. Oh my God, that is so cute, Amber. That is so cute. If you guys don't, Casey said she had a surprise for me, so here it is. If you guys never read the swimsuit issue that Dave wrote, now not the last swimsuit issue, the one before, that was my character, the real me. Baby, I don't want to say baby Amber, tween Amber. Let's say tween Amber. I don't know. Tween Amber right there. But yeah, NCW, everyone. Woohoo. Other stuff that's going on. Where can you find Zenescope's news releases? You can head to zenescope.com and you can press new releases. It will show you everything that is being released today, as well as our previous releases. On top of that, you can catch our digital releases on Comixology if you're on the go, and you can pick them up at your local comic shop to go and support them. If they don't carry Zenescope, ask them to carry Zenescope and subscribe to your favorite character or story arc there. So you never miss anything that we do, any of our live streams, NCWs, Coffee with Casey and Noah, our VCons, movie club, etc. Make sure that you press that subscription button, subscribe, press that notification bell, and you will subscribe to Zenescope.com. Zenescope on YouTube. Sorry, my brain's kind of all over the place. And then make sure that you like, you share, you comment, you react, whatever, so people can find out about these streams, so they can find out about Zenescope's newest releases. Today, we only have one release. We are just talking about our lovely Cindy release, and wow, this might be Dave's all-time best writing, and I cannot wait to talk to him about it because I am just blown away by this issue. It was a lot of fun. I immediately got into it and I was like, this is what goes on in Dave's mind. Like if Dave spoke as a person, this is what he would sound like. And so I'm convinced. So today, again, our only release is our Cinderella release, just one release. It is one of three. So Cinderella versus the Queen of Hearts, number 1 of 3. Our writer is Dave Franchini. And then here are our 4 beautiful covers. Love the covers. As always, drop in the comments what your favorite cover is. What you're really feeling. And while you do that, I am going to read the synopsis. It's a serial killer princess versus queen of, well, hearts in this high-octane coming-of-age bloodbath of a story filled with love, lost love, lost heads, and, well, quite honestly, a lot of lost things, including someone we won't mention, sanity. So Cinderella, now back in the real world, looking to make ends meet, is launched into a crown-on collision with the Queen of Hearts, who is trying to live life. Sounds fun, we know. So don't miss this crazy, chaotic, cumbersomely summarized story you won't want to miss. 32 pages. Again, today's release, just our only release, is a 1 of 3 trilogy written by our very own Dave Franchini, featuring a character that people always ask about, people super love, and more that they want. So drop whatever your favorite comments are, your covers are in the comments, and let us know. Without further ado, I will be bringing on our lovely publisher and writer of today's release, Dave Franchini.
I love that you had to read that whole synopsis. And
I know. You wrote that, right? I was like...
Yeah. I wrote it because it's like Cindy's got to be weird, so her synopsis has to be weird. And like Ralph was talking the other day, he's like, who wrote this, you? I was like, yeah. He's like, there's something wrong with you. And I was like, I know. And then, but yeah, so like you can look forward to the next 2 as well. They're just as weird. So
that's so funny. Well, let's talk a little bit about Cindy. So I am convinced that synopsis, I'm also convinced that just the writing in general of this is what actually goes on in your brain. So can you just confirm that this is what you would really sound like if you were a woman and also a serial killer? That's what I need to know. And also a princess.
Yeah, I mean, mostly the princess part. That's pretty much how I see myself anyway. But no, I mean, I guess I don't know. It's weird. Like every different character has a different part of like my personality, I guess, and like it's just more things that make me laugh. Like Cindy does things where like I crack up when I see what she says or what. Like, it's weird. I don't want to sound like pompous or whatever, but it's like sometimes her stuff writes itself. Like she kind of just talks, and it's because it's like the craziest things you kind of don't you kind of start writing without a filter, and you let her just kind of be a crazy person. And there's stuff where I'll see it and I'll start laughing, and I'm like, I hope I'm not the only person that's laughing at this. I was like, because it cracks me up sometimes, but like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like she's definitely my crazy part of my head that like thinks very weird things are funny.
So from the get-go, like even if I didn't know that you were the writer of this, I would 100% know that you're the writer of this, because in like the first page, she's like undercover at a barber shop as a dude. And I'm like, Dave wrote this. Like I didn't even have to know anything. I was like, Dave came up with this right here.
I came up with it at a barber shop while getting my haircut.
Oh, did you?
Well, we were talking about like there's a guy in Philadelphia back in like the 70s, and my barber was telling me, he's like, I guess there was like a cop or an off-duty cop that was getting his hair cut at one of these barber shops, and this guy was wanted for shooting a cop. And so he like the guy that was wanted came in while the off-duty cop was getting his hair cut. He noticed him in the mirror, and he told the barber just to turn him around. And I guess he had his gun on him. He turned around and he shot the guy and got him arrested or whatever. Well, I don't know what happened, but he was telling me that story, and I was like, that's cool. I was like, I'll do something weird like that. So like the two barbers are actually the barbers I go to.
That's funny. So shout
Yeah.
out. So where is your barber shop?
It's right in Northeast. It's right on Busted and Pike. It's right where like when we had tornadoes the one time, it like went right down that street. I left there like 2 hours beforehand.
That's funny.
No, yeah, I mean, Cindy's weird. Cindy's fun, but that scene I thought up while we were talking about that stuff. So
cameos by your barbers in the opening scene of Cindy when she's disguised as a man at a barbershop.
Yeah, it's Sean and Adam.
Sean and Adam.
And then I see Scott. I see at least one half of the Cooksons there, but there's a name in here that we use that I showed them at the airport coming back from New Orleans. I get random text messages. Like if you're a wrong number and you send me a text message, I'm going to text you back, and I'm going to make it very weird for you. So like somebody wrote me a thing like trying to reschedule like our psychiatric visit. So I wrote it back as someone who needed psychiatric help, but like where I'm digging holes in my backyard and trying to sound out the parrot from next door with tinfoil. And
I don't know what's going on up here, Dave.
Well, the guy's name was like, I was like, oh, just in case you needed to check your records, this is Scrum McDaniels. And so like that name wound up getting put into this script because it was just something weird.
That's so funny. Cindy I thought that there were so many great parts about Cindy. Like the writing dialogue felt very natural. It was like fun. She made funny jokes. The Matt Lauer joke like made me laugh out loud. Like it was very just, I could tell immediately. I was like, this is like one of Dave's strongest writing pieces because it's just like naturally, not how you speak, but like you make jokes like that. And so it just felt like very seamless from start to finish.
Oh, thank you. I like this story. That's the thing is, you write it and you're like, I hope other people like this because there's no other way you could like. That's the thing is when you put it and you're done, you're like, I don't know if there's another way to do this. So hopefully people like this because I can't. There's nothing else that can be done here. But
why did you pick Cindy as a trilogy story this go around for this year?
I mean, it was funny. We were at we did like a quick writers meeting in December. I forget when it was. I don't know. All the days blend together. But we were sitting there. We're talking like we did the Cinderella Tooth Fairy. Then we did the Cinderella Farewell Massacre. And then we were talking like we should probably do another Cinderella story just because like it we can see with the sales numbers, people like it. And plus I have way too much fun with her. And then Joe was like, oh, why don't we do something like Cinderella versus Queen of Hearts? And he just left it at that. He's like, it'd be cool to see their personalities together. I was like, sold. I was like, I got it. And then after that, it was just like I started thinking of it like while we were like doing our other stuff, and then when I drove home, and I was like, all right, cool. And I started like putting little ideas in there, like, and that's the fun thing is like putting in like things that make you laugh in your own life. Like there's a part where she does the red panda stuff,
yeah,
and that I've been doing that to Becky for about 3 months. Every time she like tells me to like take out the trash, something like that, I'm I'm like, just go away, leave me alone. But so like stuff like that's kind of like, yeah, like Cindy's definitely lets you be a little goofier, a little weird, and I know I'm weird. I can't help it. It is what it is. But like Cindy definitely like lets that happen. So like I don't know. Plus she's so different and so strange that like somehow she's weirder than my own thoughts. Like it is. It's just sometimes the things that come out of her mouth, you're just like I don't know. Like Cindy can say this, I can't. I can't think this.
What's funny about her character, even, and that's what I like you guys dive all in, like the synopsis, you keep it very authentic to her storyline's authentic, but also even the little thought bubbles are her like speaking where it's like, oh, reference this, but it like goes on in words, and I'm like, oh, it's just, I love it.
Well, I mean, that thing too is like Cindy's cool because she gets to be like the anti-comic. Like you get to be different from a normal comic book. So it was like, yeah, like you see the editor's note. She's like, you don't need to go read the book. You should remember this. If you're reading Cindy, like, and like it's tongue in cheek. Like hopefully you read the other stuff, and we don't want you not to read the other stuff. But at the same time, we don't want to be like, go buy this. It's like this is all you need to know. Just keep reading. Like.
I love that. Yeah, no, it was a fantastic read. And it's cool that there were so many shouts, like the barbershop stuff, other stuff that you mentioned. Is there other like Easter eggs in the storyline?
I mean, there's going to be a ton of stuff. Yeah, like there's tons of little things in here. Like even if you look on like, I don't know, Cindy's so fun, and Jordy and Robbie are killing it. Like their art is so good.
Oh, the interiors were amazing. Incredible.
Yeah, like they're nailing like every little thing and all the weird stuff. I just sent a note to Jordy yesterday for issue 2, and it made the page like he drew the one page. I was like, it's funny, and we adjusted this one piece, and it's like I printed it out. It's one of my favorite pages. So hopefully people like it, but like it cracks me up when I look at it. But even like the little things we threw in, like we threw in Gerald.
Oh, yeah.
We threw a little Gerald bling in there, and then as like even with the villain, there's like. It's Cindy's weird because you think it's just a crazy story, but we're trying to throw in. There's a little more undertone of like what the villain is, what's happening, and it actually ties into like what's happening in our world today. Nothing like too crazy, but like a little bit. Like you might notice a certain amount of extra digits or certain things like here and there, or just like I don't know. But there's a lot. There's a lot of little like Easter eggs, and that's what's fun about this. And then you're gonna see issue 2. It's not down to earth, but it's definitely more contained and a little bit like it's still going to be crazy, but it's just not as much. But then issue 3 gets really weird. Like issue 3 gets like it's probably weirder than the first issue.
That's what I really like about trilogies that are, usually written by you or Ralph. Like I get to the third story, like the third issue of like the conclusion, and then like something's like totally not what I thought it was. And I'm like looking around, how did we even get here? What does this even mean?
Well, I mean, that's the fun part too, is like you want to be, I hate watching a movie preview or watching a movie and figuring out the movie like in the first 20 minutes. You're like, this, it's going to happen, whatever. Like you start picking out all the characters, but it's like we have an idea of what's going to happen in the story to a degree, but like to throw in those other crazy things, and especially it leads with her, like you get to throw in stuff that wouldn't even make any sense because it's Cindy's here. Okay. Like now, but even just throwing in those little scenes, it spirals out her story even more, like while like putting together the outline, and you're like, that makes it even better, or you hope, or like it makes it even crazier, and like it kind of naturally just becomes this crazier like flip on what was happening.
I think you just said something really smart, and I think that's what happens a lot in issue 1, and I'm excited to see it throughout the entire 3 issues. But the best part about Cinderella's character that you can really explore is that it can be anything, right? She can be anywhere, things change. And so there were decisions that made, and I won't give anything away. Like a lot of times, where certain story arcs are going, or like, that it's going to be some sort of happy ending, etc. But in issue 1, there were like 3 things that immediately happened, and like closer to the end, I'm like, oh, so what are they going to do now? Or where, like, I didn't see it coming.
Oh, cool. That's good. I hope. No, I mean, like, that's cool to you like took it that way. Like, no, it's cool. Like, because you definitely don't want to write something that like we write comics, so you kind of like small ideas of like, okay, like what's going to happen with this character, kind of. The good thing is with her, she's a villain too, so she doesn't always have to have happy endings, and neither do the people in the story with her. But there's definitely more plans going into it. Hopefully, we can do more stuff coming up with Cindy after this 3-issue story. Because I've been trying to seed things throughout all the different ones. Like they're not connected, but they're connected. Like there's still Cindy's giant story, but like each one you can kind of read by itself. But like there's definitely some things that are going to be set up in this story to hopefully expand on Cinderella's like universe or release her part of the universe.
Some more to come. On a past NCW, we talked about opening a concept, and it's maybe something I'll explore when I have you back on NCW in the future, but concept to cover and laying out how a story and like what the timeline of a story is and how it all comes to be. We were talking about that with Honor 2 weeks ago, and a lot of people seemed interested in that. And it'd be maybe interesting when we hit issue number 2, like tell us through the entire timeline of how long it all took from like the beginning concept of it to like the writing, to the pages, the deadlines, etc. It's like more insight into how the storyline and the timeline for our fans, so they know how either quickly stories come about or how long it takes for stories to come about.
Yeah, no, I mean, you want me to talk about that now, or you said it next time?
I want to say next time, but what I will see, you already said that in December was like the beginning of this concept. When did the actual writing for this character take place? Was it January?
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, like, yeah, December. I didn't probably write I wrote the outline for issue 1, 2, and 3 all at once. Like I wrote, like I already had the end kind of in my head, and then it was just like you kind of piece it all together. So you write I wrote like the rough outline. I mean, this is how I do it. I just write like a rough outline of like what issue 1's going to be about, issue 2's going to be about, 3, and it's like written in paragraph form. And then it's like, yes, I probably didn't dive into issue 1 until like January. And then it's just fleshing out that issue 1. And then after you flesh out issue 1 to see what you can fit in there, what you can't fit in there, what you need to cut. And then some of the stuff makes it in issue 2. Like issue 2 is actually going to be a little bit different, but it was too big. Like there was too much stuff going on. So it was like, you know what? Like let's condense it to this part, and then we'll be able to fit what we were going to put into 3. And three is definitely jam packed, but it shouldn't feel that way. Like at least I hope it doesn't. But there's a lot of like you'll see a lot of stuff that kind of answers a lot of the questions that we start off with in this one. But yeah, I mean it's pretty quick. Like I mean 2's done being worked on. 3's it's broken out by page, and it's just waiting for 2 to be done, and then we'll start issue 3 right
now. Okay, so issue 3 isn't even in the works yet, technically.
Technically, yeah. I mean, right now we just got in page 20 or 19 of issue 2. So yes, we got that, and then that'll be finished in about 2 weeks, and then issue 3 will be jumped right into.
Is issue 2 then coming out like early summer?
That'll be, I don't remember, May 17th, I think. Yeah, so it'll be next month. It'll be May, because let me double check. I might be lying. I think I am lying. No, May 17th. Yeah, so it'll be May 17th.
Well, May 17th, we'll talk more concept to cover. The last thing before I let you go, we didn't dive that much into the Queen of Hearts, but she has a really, really good dynamic with Cindy. Is there ever a time where we feel like maybe she's not the villain and Cindy's more of the villain? I know it makes Cindy's like an anti-hero, but you know.
Oh, I mean, the cool thing with these is like when you write like a Grimm story, a Belle story, it's about like Belle going through something to overcome something to become something new at the end of it. Same thing with like Sky with Grimm Fairy Tales. Cindy, we still try to do that. We still try to evolve her as a person, as a human, as her story evolves. You don't want to reset exactly to where it was at the beginning. She needs to grow a little bit. But it's her stories are different because you're not writing the hero. Everything doesn't need to work out for her. So that's a little bit like, and like it doesn't need to end on a down note, but it doesn't need to end on a good note. It's not going to end where like Cindy's the mayor of Chicago at the end of this. Like, I mean, maybe for a future storyline, she runs for Congress. Who knows? But
David said here first. Just wait a year from now, and it's gonna be like Cindy playing
president.
Cindy. Yeah, it'll be like vote for Cindy. That will be like some title.
Yeah, she's but it could happen. It could happen. But no, I mean, so for her, it's a little bit more. it's just gonna be it's different. You get more freedom because you don't have to make everything about being better. She could be worse at the end of this story. Either as long as she grows, it makes the story count and it makes the story better. So she could be a lot worse after her interaction with the Queen of Hearts and all these other characters that come into play here. So it might change her for the worse instead of changing her for the better. So like that's the cool thing about her is like you get that freedom to kind of go both ways instead of being like, oh well, she's definitely going to be good, or you don't have to worry about a cliffhanger where it's like maybe it's like she is who she is, and she also flip flops who she is, which is kind of like it's annoying, but at the same time like makes her less predictable and a little more fun to write. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you at the end of this one if she's gonna be a better person or a worse person for it. I mean, she'll be a different person for it at the end.
It's not even figured out yet. It's not even fleshed out technically.
Oh, it is. Don't worry about that. Like, I can show you all the stuff. It's just like it just hasn't been drawn yet. And then there's plans for like after this. Like, there's stuff in this and the earlier ones that kind of lead into what I want to hopefully do with her coming up.
Awesome. So it sounds like Cindy's got big plans, and it's really fun to interview you on this one because you just sound so excited to talk about Cindy. And I think it's because it just lets you be as like authentic as you want to be as a person. And it's like all your crazy like stuff.
Oh, that's what's messed up. You're like as authentic as you want to be as a person as she's sitting there murdering people.
Look, I don't know what you do in your downtime, Dave, but I know.
I definitely don't get away with murder. I mean, I'm too lazy for that.
That's fair. And you were, I see you at the office pretty late. However, I don't know, I don't know. So I could tell that you had a really fun time writing this and even talking about it now. You had fun, but this might be my favorite story you've ever written. It was amazing.
Wow. Thank you. That means a lot. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm sure I'll have you on very, very soon. Thank you for joining us today to talk about Cindy.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. All right. I'll see you.
Bye, Dave. So again, we just had one release today, which was the kickoff to a trilogy of stories involving Cinderella versus the Queen of Hearts. And if you guys just missed the opening, make sure that you go back and you watch because we dive a little bit into the story. But those are your 4 incredible covers right there. Love, love, love these covers written by our very, very own Dave Franchini, who went absolutely crazy on this storyline. It was a lot of fun. It was a good time, and you'll have a good time reading it. It felt very authentic, Dave, as I was reading it. I was blown away. Maybe Dave's best writing to date. You'll have a good time. Go pick it up. This could be the best story I read all year. Like, make sure that you go out and you read the story. If you don't know anything about Cinderella, it jumps right in, but you'll have fun. It's just a very fun, fast read. You'll be going from interior into interior, and the interiors were incredible, amazing. I was absolutely blown away by this storyline. So again, just one issue released today. What's upcoming? A couple of things. Number one, if you guys missed NCW 2 weeks ago, I was celebrating our 2-year anniversary of NCW. It's been 2 incredible years. Make sure that you go back and you see that. And then you see last week's with Casey. I was not around there. Some other stuff that's upcoming. We just had our last VIP event yesterday, but I know that we're going to have a VCon. It's coming up very, very soon. I believe it's April 21st and 22nd. Casey, I'm sure will remind everybody and pop it on up. But yes, our VCon is happening there. So if you ever wanted first chance at rare collectibles, our exclusives, etc., and the opportunity to hang out with your very, very favorite people at the Zenescope office, make sure that you tune into our future VCon. And then I can imagine from there, we're still probably about 3 weeks away from our very first retailer live stream for May. So we only do one per month, but obviously our first one in May, because it's our only one in May. Can you believe that we are literally 3 weeks away from May, like 2.5 weeks away from May? What is happening in 2023 that stuff's just zooming by so fast, which is why you have to join all of these streams, which is why you have to come see us in person at conventions, because you never know. Everything's happening so fast. You have the opportunity to hang out with some of your favorite artists, some of your favorite writers, some of your favorite people that you see on stream. So, make sure that you tune in. I'm sure on a future NCW, I'll be sharing our upcoming convention schedule completely locked in. So make sure that you tune in for that. Or again, on Monday with Coffee, Casey, and Noah, I'm sure they'll dive in a little bit more into that schedule. Some other stuff, I saw that our Ketchum cover just released, and some other really incredible things that you'll want to check out on the web store. We had a lot of Easter exclusives and collectibles that we shared, a lot of fun like Easter merch. So if you missed that, it's never too late to get it. It's never too late to prepare for next year. So head on in and grab that. I'm seeing if there's anything I missed. I can imagine that our upcoming movie club is coming soon, but I don't have a date for it. I don't know if Casey wants to drop that in the chat. I don't even know. Yeah, I'll let her drop it in the chat. Our next movie club. We are in the middle of a month, and like I mentioned, there's only 2.5 weeks until the end of April. So yeah, so I'm sure lots of things will be jam-packed in the next 2 weeks. But again, thank you so much for joining us at another incredible NCW. Make sure that you go back, you read the Cinderella story. If you missed any of the other Cinderellas, we've done Cinderella a couple times on NCW, so go back and rewatch those episodes where we dive a little bit into some Christmas stuff, some other, get familiar with her crazy serial killer princess ways, or spend 10 minutes talking to Dave, and then you'll be completely caught up that story because Cinderella and Dave might be the same person. That's all I have for today, guys. Thank you so much for spending NCW with me again at 3 p.m. every Wednesday. We're here at Zenescope. You come for the covers, but you stay for the stories. I will see everybody next Wednesday.